Okay, welcome to our Bible class. Last Tuesday, we were able to finish 2 chapters, and we aim to do the same thing tonight, to finish 2 chapters. Last Tuesday, we finished chapters 4 and 5. So tonight, we hope to finish chapter 6 and 7. And of course, if you remember, chapter 6 actually gave us this, right? This information. We said that there are already Adam and Eve, the first generation, and then Adam and Eve of all their children, 3 sons will be named. Who's the first son again? Cain, and the second son will be Abel, and the third son is Seth. Okay? Cain is the eldest, and of course we know that he killed Abel, right? That's why the third son will be born by the name of Seth, and we are saying that Seth is the good line. Because with the sin of Adam and Eve, remember sin entered the world. That's why I was telling you from that time on, there will already be a struggle between good and evil. In a practical and realistic way, there will already be the bad line, the evil line, and the good line. So the evil line will be the line of Cain. Okay? Because of course he is the murderer. Okay? While Abel supposed to be is the good line, but of course Cain killed him, so he disappears. That's why remember Seth is also said to replace Abel, right? And how do we know that Seth is the good son? Again, how do we see in the Bible? In the book of Genesis, it says that he was born in the image and likeness of who? Of Adam. Okay, so again, Adam was created in the image and likeness of God, while Seth was born in the image and likeness of Adam. So in short, Seth inherited the godliness, okay, of Adam, being created in the image and likeness of God. Okay? So, and then chapter 6, as I said, gives us this information. When Adam was 130 years old, Seth was born. And Adam lived for additional 800 years. That's why his total lifespan is 930. So if you look at this graph, if you took a picture of this is, if you have this graph actually, you literally can read chapter 6. Okay? You literally read chapter 6 by just saying, when Adam was 130 years old, Seth was born. And he lived for another 800 years. That's why the total lifespan of Adam is 930. When Seth was 105 years old, Enosh was born. Down the line, it's actually literally what's written in chapter 6. So, again, we are saying that Lamech is the 7th generation of the evil line. That's why Lamech, being the number 7, okay? Therefore, he will be like the worst of all evil, right? The perfection of evil. Although philosophically, as I said, evil is not the perfection, we cannot think of any term, okay, and say it's the perfection of evil. How do we see that in Lamech, aside from being the number 7? He had 2 wives, and he's also a murderer. Remember, down the line, there will be murderers here. Cain killed his brother. Lamech, remember, he had 2 wives for the first time in the scriptures. And aside from that, remember that boy who bruised him? He killed the boy. He's also a murderer. While here, okay, one sign that we can say that this is the good line. What's the sign? First, it says that Seth was born in the image and likeness of God. And aside from that, comparing the two, what do you notice again? This is the last thing I told you actually last Tuesday. Here, we have the number of years. The Bible takes time in recording how long they live, which tells us, it is the way of the Bible to tell us that these are good people. For the good people, we care how long they live. You know what I mean? So, for the good people, we care how long they live. For the evil one, I wish we can just erase them, right? Doesn't matter how long they live. That's why here, they have to record how long they live. So therefore, Again, we use this for trivia questions like, who's the eldest that has the longest lifespan again? Methuselah. How long did he live? 969. Now, again, Enoch, number 7, supposedly the perfection of goodness. Being the number 7. That's why he walked with the Lord and he was no more at the age of 365. Therefore, if he disappeared, just like Abel disappeared because he was murdered, therefore the perfection of goodness will be Lamech. How do we see that in Lamech? Because he's not number 7, he's number 9. How do we see that in him? Because he lived for 777. Therefore, his son, what do you expect? If the father is really good, what do you expect of the son? To be righteous. And who's the son? Noah. Therefore, Noah is the 10th generation. Not this, huh? But by the way, as I said, we are following the line of Jesus. We are chasing the line of Jesus. Now we have already reached from first generation to the 10th generation. In fact, we are now going into the 11th generation. So I hope you're following. Okay, you're following. So let me just go back to chapter 5, verse 28. Let's begin with that this evening. That is in page 21. Okay, page 21. It says, when Lamech was 182 years old, 182 years old, he begot a son and named him Noah, saying, this one shall bring us relief from our work. Now, remember I was telling you, names were given during the time, not just because they are beautiful or nice names, but there's a reason, okay, why the names are given. Normally, number 1, it's either you are named after your father or your mother. If you are male, you are named after your father. If you are female, you are named after your mother. Secondly, the name given to you sometimes speaks of your features. Remember Edom again, because Edom, when he was born, he was reddish. That's why he was named Edom. Okay? He was also named what? Esau. Why? Because he's hairy, right? We also have the name Laban, which means actually white, because when Laban was born, he was very white. Okay? So, he was named Isaac again, because Isaac means laughter. So, all the circumstances. Here, Noah was named Noah, because Noah comes from a word, Noah, means actually, okay, as it is said here, it says, this one shall bring us relief or rest. Okay? So, actually, the name Noah, when it says here, this one shall bring us relief, that is actually the description of the name Noah. Are you following me? Okay, it's just being translated to us or explained to us. It's equivalent to say, his name shall be Noah. It's like saying, his name will be rest. Because he will rest us. He will make us rest from, relief from our work and the toil of our hands, out of the very ground that the Lord has put us under a curse. Now, under a curse, does that remind you of something? When do we see this curse? When was the ground cursed? So far, we have 2 instances already. Do you remember? Number 1,
eating the fruit.
we're just in chapter 5. Huh? When? Very early in the book of Genesis. Huh? Sin. Who sinned? Adam. Remember? When Adam sinned, when Adam and Eve sinned, the punishment for Adam is, you will be cursed from the ground. For Eve, remember the punishment? Pangs of earth. Right? Serpent, you'll be crawling on the ground. For Adam, the punishment was, you will be cursed. Now, you will be used in toil, you shall eat its yield at the days of your life. Exactly. You find that in chapter 3, verse 17. What's the other instance? Again, cursed. The ground was cursed. Any instance? Another instance? 2 so far on this line.
Cain killing Abel.
Cain, remember? Cain, when he was punished by God, what was the punishment? You shall be banned from soil that you till. Remember? That's why here when it says, relieve from our work and the soil of our hands out of the very ground that the Lord has put us under a curse. Lamech lived 595 more years. That's why his total lifespan is 777. Then he died. When Noah was 500 years, he begot a son. Here, so we have Noah. He begot the sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So let's go to chapter 6. So that's where we end here. When human beings began to grow numerous on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw how beautiful the daughters of human beings were. Now notice, two terms here. Sons of God, and what's the other group? Daughters of men. In our version, daughters of the human race. Okay, remember, every Bible has different terminology. Okay? Now, there are possible interpretations of what we mean when the Bible says sons of God. Some interpreters would say, explanation that literally, they are like angels who came from God and got mixed with the human race. You follow me? That's one possible interpretation. And I think, and of course, the sons of the human race or men is here to understand. Okay? It's the son of men. Okay? The sons. Okay? The daughters rather of men. Now, where so they took for their wives whomever they pleased. What is the other interpretation? Again, as I said, two terminologies, son of God and daughters of men. One possible interpretation is, Bible commentaries would say, that when you say sons of God, literally it means there were angels who came down from heaven and got mixed with the human race. Are you following me? And then the daughters of the human race were simply the daughters of the human race. Okay? But another interpretation is this. Sons of God refer to the good line. The sons of God refer to the good line because they are the good, they carry the godliness. They're the sons of God. Okay? The evil line, some would say, is the daughters of the human race. Now, remember that the author of the book are Hebrews, huh? So what's the connection? Why would they use the daughters? That's so unfair, Father. The boys are good. They're the sons of God. The daughters, they're evil. They're the daughters of the human race. That's unfair, Father. Remember the context of where it was written. The author, remember, is a Hebrew. Now, being Hebrew, what kind of culture do they have? What kind of culture? Patriarchal. The men cannot be bad. They are always the protagonist. Are you following me? But I remember when they count people during that time, they don't count women. Remember the feeding of the crowd? How did the Bible, the Gospels describe? How many were fed by Jesus? How many? 5,000 men, not counting women and children, because they're patriarchal. Okay? That's why women do not have rights in society, quote unquote, during that time, including children. That's why when we say here, can you use sons of God for the evil line? Oh no, it will be what? You cannot make the men the bad ones. Okay? That's why they are the sons of God. Okay? They're the sons of God and the daughters of the human race. Which is the sons of God, the good line, and the daughters of human race or men as the evil line. What did they do? So the sons of God saw how beautiful the daughters of human beings were, and so they took for their wives whomever they pleased. Now again, very important, the word whomever. What does that mean? What does it imply? Whomever. When you say you took wife whomever you like, that is what the women caprice. Therefore, there is no norm being followed. Again, disobedience to the design of God. Adam and Eve just did whatever they want to do. Okay? Not remembering the command of God, do not eat that fruit. Okay? Here, they just took wives whatever they want. In short, the evil line and the good line intermarried. As I always tell you, right? When the good line and the evil line intermarried, everybody becomes evil. In electricity, right? Negative plus positive, you put it together, what happens? Fire. That's why God said, when there is already the mixture, the intermarriage of the sons of God, the good line, intermarried with the evil line, everybody became evil. Okay? Are you following me? It's contamination. Okay? That's why here, the Bible continues, then the Lord said, my spirit shall not remain in human beings forever. Now, think about that, my dear friends. For the Bible to say that God said, my spirit shall not remain with them forever, that tells us how important man really is for God. Huh? What do I mean by that? Therefore, it tells us, it is implied, that when Adam and Eve were created, God not just tell them, okay, you're created, take care of yourself. That means all this time, God is still really there guiding them. The Spirit of God was with them. This is in fact, even until now, that's our belief. Huh? The Holy Spirit guides us. But because of their evilness, God said, my spirit shall not remain in human beings forever, because they are only flesh. Their days shall comprise 120 years. Now, okay, again, so as I said, this is the sons of heaven, this is the daughters of man. Okay, now, it says, because the sons of heaven and the daughters of man intermarried, the good line and the evil line, God said in verse 3, my spirit shall not remain in man, and he will only, it says there, and their days shall comprise of 120 years. So the question is, what does it mean? But that their days shall comprise of 120 years. Does it mean lifespan? Does it mean that man shall only live up to 120? Remember that before this, how long were their lives? Hundreds, huh? The oldest is 969. Okay. So far, who died youngest so far? With what we have for the 10 generations already? Huh? Enoch, but actually he did not die, right? But so far, that's the shortest lifespan. Now God said, their days shall comprise 120 years. So what does that mean? That man's lifespan will only be 120? Can we interpret it that way? There are two possible interpretations. Number one, it can mean lifespan. Like man cannot live beyond 120 years. Whether you like it or not, everybody will die. Either 120 or younger than that. Can we interpret it that way? What do you think? Can we say, yes, Father, it's really 120. The Bible is referring to lifespan. Can we? Especially those who have been attending Bible class pre-pandemic. Can we? Huh? We can't. Why? What's the proof to that? When the people living after this will live longer than 120. Okay. If you still remember, how old old was Abraham when he died? Of course, we don't remember anymore, Father. Last year's back, we don't even remember last Tuesday. How old was Abraham when he died? Yes. Yeah, but that's one. Noah lived 500 years. Abraham died at the age of 175. Jacob died at the age of 145. So we cannot interpret this part as saying it will be 100 years referring to lifespan of man. Because people living after this live beyond 120. Are you following me? Therefore, what's the other possible interpretation which we ascribe to? What do you think? Come on, follow the flow of the story. So even is that lifespan that the Bible is talking about, their days shall comprise 120 years, it refers to the time of the flood. That means from this time, in 120 years, from this time, the flood will happen. They will be all killed. Are you following me? So that's the second interpretation, which is the interpretation that we ascribe to. When the book of Genesis says that their days shall be for 120 years, it refers to the time when the flood will happen. Remember, this is already the time of the flood. Okay? This is when the flood will happen. Okay? So it's either lifespan, which is 100 years, or it may refer to the time when the flood will happen. And this is the interpretation that we are ascribing for. Okay? That's what we believe, that it refers to the time the flood will happen. Verse 4. The Nephilim appeared on earth in those days as well as later, after the sons of God had intercourse with the daughters of human beings who bore them sons. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. Verse 5. When the Lord saw how great the wickedness of human beings was on the earth, how every desire that their heart conceived was nothing but evil. Now, that should remind you of something in our theology. It says, let me read that again. Every desire that their heart conceived was always nothing but evil. Do you believe in that? That at the point when God saw men, He said, boy, my spirit shall not remain with them forever. Their days will only be 120 years. Because everything that they desire is evil. Now that should remind you of, remember original sin? I think I explained this to you already. I hope so. I hope I did not miss that. Remember I was telling you, what's the proof of original sin again? How can you prove that original is true? And it's not just something that we believe. I just told you that how many weeks ago? Remember I told you how do you prove that original sin is real? It's not just a concept. So that when we are asked, do you believe in original sin? Yes, Father. What is original sin? The sin of Adam and Eve. How do you prove it is true? I don't know, Father. I just believe. Okay? How do we prove again that original sin is real in our life now? We don't, it's not just something like a concept. Remember I said just face the mirror and you will know that there's original sin. How did I explain that to you again? Remember I was telling you, in every human person there are three things you have. What are those three things again?
Concupiscence.
As if I did not teach you this. You don't embarrass me. What are those three things again? Very good. You have the intellect. Remember? The intellect is the one that judges, is the one that says it is good, it is bad, okay? It's black, it's white, it's intellect. Okay? What's the other one?
Your will.
Will or volition, right? Will or volition. It's in simpler terms, to simplify, it's not exactly the same, but it's what you have in you that makes you feel you like it and you don't like it. That's will. Will and intellect are different, huh? There are many things that we like, even though our intellect says no. Passion. Passion is that which you have, that every person has, that makes you capable of doing things. If you have enough passion for basketball, even though it is raining or in the middle of the day, you will play basketball. It's an energy within you that makes you capable of doing things. Okay? Now remember, I told you that when Adam and Eve were created, these three things work perfectly harmoniously. Okay? Perfectly harmonious. Perfectly, I hope my spelling is correct. Perfectly harmonious. What do I mean by that? When the intellect says it is good, okay, the intellect says that is good, how should I feel? Should I like it or not like it? I should like it, right? The will should say, oh, I like that. That is good. Okay, now the passion. Should you do it or should you not do it? Should do it. Okay, do it. Okay. Let's do it the other way around. Let's do it the other way around. If the intellect says it is bad, should you like it or not like it? Not like it. Okay. Not like it. Okay. Should you do it or should you not? Should not. I think that is just very, common sense. Huh? It's very logical. When it is good, you should like it, you should do it. When it is bad, you should not like it, you should not do it. Okay? In theology, when Adam and Eve were created, this worked like this. It works perfectly harmonious. You call that as original justice. Let me remove this for a while, so you can see. It is called as original. What's happening with Nicolette? Holiness, or sometimes it is also called as original justice. Okay. But when Adam and Eve sinned, they destroyed this. They destroyed. Okay. When Adam and Eve sinned, they destroyed this original holiness, original justice. Now what happens? The intellect says it's good, but the will says, I don't like it. And I will not do it. Put it the other way around. Now the intellect says it is bad. What will the will do? I don't care, I like it. And I will do it. Okay? That's why remember the exercise I gave you and you forgot already? The exercise, remember the exercise I always do with this is, I'll give you 5 seconds, think of your favorite sin. Remember? And then after thinking of your favorite sin, I will not make you do the exercise anymore. We did that already last time. After you have thought of your favorite sin, remember I asked you, that sin of yours that you committed, even before committing, do you know that it is evil, it is a sin? What's the answer? The sins that you commit, do you know it's a sin? Yes. That's why you confess, because you know it's a sin, right? So the question is, you already know it's a sin even before committing it, so why did you still do it? I don't know, Father, something is wrong with me. That's the original sin. We malfunction. Right? We malfunction. We lost the original holiness, original justice, wherein these three work harmoniously, perfectly harmonious. You know what replaced it? I think it's in my slide. Actually, you know when I came here, I opened my laptop, I realized these are like years back. Just trying to remember my slides. Okay. Okay, I think I have it here. Right. We call it concupiscence. What replaced original holiness or original justice is what we call as concupiscence in theology. What do you mean by concupiscence? it is man's tendency to do evil. Okay? For some reasons, we always have a tendency to do evil. It is not expressed well in English. I don't know if you can translate it better for me, for the Filipinos. Remember in Tagalog, we have a saying, ang bawal laging masarap. That's concupiscence. What's forbidden is always good. It's not really translated well in English. Ano kaya sa better translation of that? Ang bawal laging masarap. The good things are always the forbidden ones. Right? I love ice cream. Okay. But it's not really healthy. It looks good. Remember, I was telling you, the evil can always disguise itself to be good. Because if the evil disguises itself to be evil already, you will not like him. That's why he disguises himself always to be good, so that you will be tempted. Okay? That's why so you call it concupiscence. Instead of the original holiness, original justice, which is this, the intellect says it's good, you will like it automatically, you will do it automatically. The intellect says bad, you will not like it automatically, you will not do it automatically. Remember, I also told you, ask for example those people who don't go to Mass, ask them, is it good to go to Mass? What do you think is their answer? Yes, right? So you ask them, so why do you not go to Mass? I don't know. Something is wrong. Okay? That's concupiscence. Man's tendency to do evil. Okay? I remember again my experience in one of the schools back in my previous diocese. When I was assigned in this one particular high school, and then there was a fight amongst the boys. Amongst the boys. And they were brought to my office by the teachers. Father, these boys, they fought by the gate, outside of the gate. So I asked one boy, I said, what did you do? Oh, Father, I punched him. Feels so good. You know, it's against the handbook. Yes, Father, but you know, when I punched him, it really felt good. Ask those kids, for example, who do graffiti and everything like that in the restroom or what, ask them, do you know it is bad and against the handbook? Yes, Father, but I don't know. I just really love writing on the wall. Right? And then you will be coming to the office of the superintendent and everything, begging to forgive me, Father. Okay? Because, but when you were doing it, you know it is what? You call it concupiscence. And that's what it means here when God said, and how every desire that their heart conceived was always nothing but evil. The Lord regretted making human beings on earth, and his heart was grieved. Now, that's something that theologians even now still talk amongst themselves. Huh? How can God regret? Because when you say you regret, what does it imply?
Mistake.
You committed a mistake. You only regret something that is a mistake, right? Therefore, what do you think is the theological problem? If we say that God regretted,
It's not perfect.
he made a mistake. Therefore, if God made a mistake, what do you think?
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect. Cannot be God anymore. That's why it is further explained by saying, and his heart was grieved. Okay? Everybody? So that means, when the Bible says that God regretted, it is more expressing of the frustration and sadness of God. Because that is not his design. Did he design Adam and Eve to be doing concupiscence? No. What was his design? Original holiness, original justice. Unfortunately, they committed sin. Now they have concupiscence. Now you might be saying, so Father, in the first place, why did God allow them to do that? Now we get into the question of free will and freedom. Okay? Ayaw, Father, how I wish God just did not allow them to, just don't give them freedom. Why is there free will, Father, that we commit sin? We could have been just doing good. But if there is no free will, what do you think happens? Then we become all robots, huh? If there is no free will, we all become robots. We are controlled by God. Turn to the right, turn to the left, eat this, eat that, do not eat this. Now, if we are controlled like that, is there love?
No.
In fact, free will is the best proof of how much God loves us. One of the proofs. Of course, Jesus dying on the cross, offering his life, is really the best expression of God's love for us. But free will is also a show of how much God loves us. That He allows us to make decisions on our own. Okay? We are free. Unfortunately, supposedly, or I shouldn't say unfortunately, our freedom is freedom to do good. We are never free to do evil. So when we say in the Bible that God regretted, it doesn't mean that God committed mistake. Huh? It more expresses of the frustration and the sadness of God for what happened in His creation. Okay. Verse 7. So the Lord said, I will wipe out from the earth the human beings I have created, and not only the human beings, but also the animals and the crawling things and the birds of the air. For I regret that I made them, but Noah found favor with God. Okay? Because he's the righteous man. He's the son of no less than the perfect man. Perfect man, quote unquote. Lamech, the ninth generation, who lived for a period of 777. These are the descendants of Noah. Noah was a righteous man and blameless in his generation. Now again, remember the word righteous. When you think of righteous, what comes to mind in our term? Oh, very good father, very kind person. But remember, we are talking about Hebrew literature here. Huh? When we say righteous, it actually means obedient. Obedient. Therefore, when it says righteous man, that Noah was righteous, that means he is obedient to the command of God. Again, the best example, remember I always give you the example of Joseph, the righteous man. Remember I explained this to you already also in the past. Remember Saint Joseph, the Bible tells us, remember in the Annunciation, when Mary was told that she will conceive and bear a son, and of course when Joseph, the angel appeared to Joseph, the scriptures, the Gospels tells us, Joseph, since he was a righteous man, he said to the statement, Joseph, since he is a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose her to shame. Isn't that something, the teachers here, right? Yet is contrary, right? Yet. I hope you're following the statement. Joseph, since he is a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose Mary to shame. In our own expression, the yet there is wrong. It should be Joseph, since he is a righteous man, that's why, are you following me? That's why he was unwilling to expose her to shame. But the word of the gospel is different. Huh? Joseph, since he is a righteous man, yet unwilling to expose. It doesn't make sense in our terminology. But in Hebrew culture, that is really the word. Because for you to say that Joseph is a righteous man, that means Joseph is obedient to the law. Remember that for them, the law is the expression of the will of God. That's why for them, it's simple man. You want to obey the will of God? Oh, very simple. What do you do? Obey the law. That's why, in fact, in a way, from one perspective, you would understand why the Pharisees and the scribes are very strict with the law. Observe the law, observe the law. Because for them, the law is the expression of the will of God. You want to make sure that you're able to obey the will of God? Just observe the law. The only problem with the Pharisees is they lost the sense of the law. They became like external observance of the law. Are you following me? Okay, I'll give you an example. Sabbath law. What is the external observance of Sabbath law? What is the external observance?
No work.
That means no work, right? No work. But what is the sense of the law of Sabbath? Why is there Sabbath law? What's the purpose?
To worship.
To worship, right? That's actually the reason. That's why you are not supposed to work, so you should worship. Because if you work, you cannot worship. Remember, they were slaves, huh? They work 7 days a week. That's why it's necessary for them to have the Sabbath law. So that their masters cannot demand them to work. Are you following me? So that they are free to worship. But what happened with the Pharisees is they got stuck with the external observance of the law. They don't care anymore about the sense. As long as you don't work today, okay? That's why even though somebody is in need of help on Sabbath day, they don't work. They don't help. Well, that's practically their problem with Jesus. When Jesus goes to the synagogue, it's Sabbath day. He sees a blind man, he heals the blind man. And for them, it is against the Sabbath law. External observance of the law, forgetting the sense of the law. It doesn't prohibit you from helping other people if it is even part of your worship to God. Okay. Now, therefore, Joseph, to be a righteous man, being obedient to the law, if I am Joseph and Mary is betrothed to me, okay, we are just waiting for the day of our formal wedding, and I find out that she is pregnant. If I am righteous as a Jew, what should I do?
Stone her.
What should I do?
Stone her.
Report her to authority. Because it's a crime to get pregnant during the time that's single, huh? That's why Joseph, since he is a righteous man, he should report Mary to authorities. Yet, that's why the word used by the gospel is yet unwilling to expose her to shame. Okay? You will only understand that word yet there if you know the context of being a Hebrew, being a Jew. Okay? Because for us, to be righteous is different. For us to be righteous is that person is righteous, very kind, peace-loving, would not hurt you. But that's not righteous in the Jewish context. That's why he to say that Noah was a righteous man, means obedient to the will of God. Okay? And blameless in his generation. Okay? So those two don't go together in a sense, they have a different object. Righteous before God, obedient to God, blameless in his generation, that means he's good to others. Are you following me? Righteous before God, obedient to God, and blameless in his generation. He's a good man to others. Those two qualities of Noah. That's why he is a righteous man. Noah walked with God. This is very important. Okay? Who else is described to have walked with God? Who else? Walked with God, and he was no more. So actually, walk with God can be interpreted literally, huh? Can be interpreted literally. And I hope we can do it also in our life, that we always walk with God. What does that mean? That in everything that we do, God is always considered, is always there. Unfortunately, most of the time in our walking, we don't even remember God. God is not part of our walking. Okay? So Noah, being a righteous man and blameless in his generation, he walked with God. Okay? Noah walked with God. Noah begot three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But the earth was corrupt in the view of God and full of lawlessness. Again, why do you think lawlessness in contrast to Noah? What is Noah? Righteous, obedient to the law. The rest, disobedient to the law. There's lawlessness. When God saw how corrupt the earth had become, since all mortals had corrupted their ways on earth, God said to Noah, I see that the end of mortals has come, for the earth is full of lawlessness because of Shem. So I am going to destroy them with the earth. Verse 14. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. You're now going to the ark. Okay. Made of gopher wood. Equip the ark with various compartments and cover it inside out with pitch. This is how you shall build it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits. Okay. What's the width? 50. What's the height? 30. Now, if you're familiar, of course, with boat construction or what, you should understand why the length is, of course, obviously length should be the biggest number, right? The width, normally in their style during the time, should always be greater than the height in the olden times. Now not anymore. They have all the other systems. They have weights under something like that. But during the time, it's simple math. Okay, the width is always greater than the height in the olden times because balance. Because of the balance. What is a cubit? What's the equivalent of cubit? Because the Bible uses the dimension cubit. What's a cubit? Conversion. Okay. A cubit is 1.5 feet. Therefore, if you're talking of length as 450 feet, that's longer than a football field. What's the length of a football field? I know I put it down.
100 yards?
Okay, the ark is 450 feet. A football field is 360 feet. Okay? Difference of 90 feet. Can you imagine? So the ark is longer than a football field. Although it's narrower than a football field. Because the width of the ark, if it is 50 cubits, so how many feet would that be? 75. What is the width of a football field? 160. Okay? And the height is 30 cubits, which is equivalent to 45 feet. Okay? So if you convert the height for 50, the length, feet, convert it to feet, 75 wide, the width, and 45 the height. It's a big, huh? That's why, it's also, I always say that when I was born during the time of Noah, I think I would also not believe him. Who would think of building this size of a boat during the time, huh? Longer than a football field. There's no cruising yet that time, right? The people were not thinking yet of cruising and everything, but somebody is building this size of boat. And aside from that, think of this. What will be the command of God? Who will be inside the ark? Animals. Which animals? Which animals? All animals. If you were born during the time of Noah, and Noah will tell you, I'm building this boat this size, will you believe him? This man is crazy for him to be, what is he gonna do? Okay. Remember, there were no engines yet during the time. So what is he doing? Nothing, just a float. And aside from that, for you to bring all, at least a pair of all the animals, is not even possible to be done by somebody. That's why you have all the reasons not to believe in him really. Okay? That he is in his right mind. Everybody during his time, perhaps including us, if we were born during the time, we will be included in those people who will be saying, this man is crazy. What is he building and then bringing every kind of animal inside this boat? That's impossible. Okay. Make an opening for daylight and finish the ark a cubit above it. What does that mean? So if you have the ark like that, so the height, the length is 450 feet, okay? The width is 45 feet, the height is 75 days, and then 45 days. Above it, 1 cubit before you have the roof. There will be like window. Can you imagine if there is no window? So okay, then you have all of those animals inside. Thanks be to God, there's window, no? So that's 18 inches. That's 1 cubit. That's 1.5 feet. Okay? That there should be like ventilation at least. Okay? Put the ark's entrance on its side. You will make it with bottom, second, and third decks. So 3 decks. I, on my part, am about to bring the flood waters on the earth to destroy all creatures under the sky in which there is the breath of life. Everything on earth shall perish. I will establish my covenant with you. For the very first time, we hear the word covenant. You shall go into the ark, you and your sons, your wife and your sons' wives with you. So how many of them? Noah, your wife, and then how many sons again? 3, and their wives. So how many of them? 8. Okay? Of all living creatures, you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark, 1 male and 1 female. Now, my dear friends, I think even though the Bible doesn't tell us why 1 male and 1 female, I think the reason is very obvious, right? What do you think is the reason? Reproduction. In fact, I hope you notice that in the creation story, notice when it comes to those things that have life, notice God, there's a built-in system for them to reproduce. Remember when we get into the days when the plants, the fruit trees were created, the Bible specifically said, and God put seeds in them. And then in the animals, grow and multiply, in the human beings, male and female. Because when it comes to living things, God will make them capable of reproducing themselves. Therefore, if that time God will erase everything, He will also make sure that after the flood, they continue to exist. Okay? So how many animals were there? A pair of every kind. To keep them alive along with you. Of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, of every kind of thing that grows on the ground, 2 of each will come to you. Did you notice that? 2 of each will come to you. What does that mean? I just told you one of the reasons why it's difficult to believe Noah is how he will collect the animals. But will he be collecting the animals?
No.
No. Why? God Himself said, they will come to you. That you may keep them alive. Moreover, you are to provide yourself with all the food that is to be eaten and store it away, that it may serve as provisions for you. That it may serve as provisions for you and for them. Noah complied. He did as just God had commanded him. Well, I think verse 22 is just given, right, of all the things that we have been discussing tonight. When the Bible says, Noah complied. He did just as God had commanded him. if you already know the story, if it's sinking into your mind, you'll be saying, you don't need to tell us that. It's given. What do you think? Again, let me see if you're picking it up. It's righteous. Okay. What does that mean again? Obedient to the command of God. So therefore, you don't need to tell us that Noah complied. Because God said, you will really do it because he's a righteous man. He's a man who always obeys the command of God. It's it. I was hoping we can finish the chapters today. I think that's good. Any questions so far? Any realization, sharing? So concupiscence, observe that with me, you will notice that there's always a tendency to do evil. You call that concupiscence. So when you have all of those inclinations, oh, here comes concupiscence again. I know this is concupiscence. Temptations is concupiscence. Yes. When you committed a sin and you are not aware of it, in a sense that you do not know it is a sin, it is still a sin, but the gravity is lessened. Even though sometimes it is a mortal sin, but because you do not have the knowledge and awareness of it, it becomes venious. Okay, so mortal sin entails three things. I hope I remember. Okay, number one, the act itself, if the thing is grievous in itself, like for example, sorry, I cannot think of any other example. Murder. The act itself is really grave, right? Murder. Okay, so that's one thing. The object must be grievous itself. Second, you have full consciousness. Okay, you have full consciousness. Third, the circumstance. Okay, you were not forced to do it. Somebody is pointing a gun at you. You kill him, or I kill him. You kill him. Okay. So your intention is affected. Yes. Actually, it's becoming shorter and shorter. The only reason I can think of is, remember what we were talking about? We said, why is it that during their time, they were marrying their own sisters and their own brothers? Remember, where did Cain and Abel and Seth rather got their wives? Where? What was our answer? They must have married their own sisters. Okay? So, Father, isn't that not allowed in our time now? You are not allowed to marry your sister or even your first cousin, because if you marry them and you have children, what will be the consequence? Defects, right? Birth defects. What was our explanation? What was our because of our proximity from the perfect human beings created by God. As we go farther and farther from that, our imperfection also becomes graver and graver. That's why when we now relate with one another, it can cause already defects. But during that time, they were proximate, close to the perfection of how they were created. That's why even though they were marrying each other, okay, there's no defect. Are you following me? Yes. So, in the same logic, okay, let's go back to the question. What's your question again? Okay, now, connection to that, we are going farther and farther from that perfection as God designed us. We become more defective and defective. We will not really last long. Are you following me? We will not really last long. It will become shorter and shorter. The same logic, the same principle. Any question? Okay, so we'll do chapter 7 next time. I was hoping we can finish it, including today. Let us all stand for the prayers. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of